Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. All right. So last shiur, we discussed the structure of the Haggadot within the Haggadah. We addressed how we can find 4 Haggadot within the Haggadah of Rav and Shmuel, representing or the physical redemption versus the spiritual redemption, which is the second Haggadah. Then we have the intellectual and analytical approach, freedom, right? Haggadah, to finally get to the more sensitive and more practical freedom of emotions and senses, to actually sense the freedom on an emotional level. These were the 4 fundamental pieces of the Haggadah. Each Haggadah has in it a very clear structure, if you recall, right? We said that you have the question, you have the historical answer to the question, and praising, right? Okay. And we addressed the definition of Haggadah, which means to go and dive in the most possible details an idea or a thought you would like to convey. And this is why we said that we are talking to the children. We addressed how important it is to awake and stimulate the interest of the children, right? In order to get them to ask any type of question, just so that there is an engagement, an interest that will allow a person to lead himself all the way to praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu on his own level for his own redemption in his life. This is in a nutshell what we learned the last year. What I would like to address today is 2 things. Number 1, the reason why we need a Seder, right? And if you know, as you all know, not if you know, but we have the Simanim, right? We have Simanim, Kadesh, Urhas, Karpas, Yahatz, right? And I also would like to address lightly, yet straight to the point, the purpose of leaning down or leaning on the side on Pessach. Okay. So first of all, let's understand, why do we have a Seder? Why do we have a structure and organization the night of Pesach? Why can't it be just a personal, subjective praise or process? Yeah. No. Instead, Chachamim say we all follow the same Haggadah, as if we read the parasha on Shabbat. Everybody follows the same thing. Very regimented structure. So first of all, we need to know the Gemara in Masechet Eruvin. Okay, Daf Nun Dalet Amud Bet. The Gemara says, "En haTorah niknit ela besimanim." You cannot really acquire and connect to the Torah without turning the Torah into simanim. Simanim are what? Like are point of reference, signs, right? A siman is a sign. It's really what the Gemara really means is a point of reference. You need to have point of reference, keynotes, keywords that imply and open in your brain an entire world surrounding a subject that refer to that keyword. And this is how you learn the Torah. This is how you learn the Torah. So to every sugya, to every halacha or whatever, you have a keyword. The second you say you trigger that keyword, you say that keyword, the keyword triggers or opens all the subfiles of the title that you have. So Chachamim tell us, if you want to have a grasp of the Torah, don't try to amass all the words. Organize, compartmentalize your lessons into keywords. You can have a general keyword, subtitle, like a title, subtitle, subtitles. It's okay. But this is, make sure it's organized. And that's how you do kinyan. This is how your Torah niknit. This is how you own your Torah. Based on that, if we want to own appreciation, if we want to own a personal, intimate connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we need to follow a keyword process that on a universal level can apply to everyone, but on a subjective level can trigger within me my own subtitles. So if you don't have your own subtitles to the titles, to the simanim that Chachamim installed and prepared for us, then you're outside of the system. You become a passenger, a spectator, not a main player in the Seder. Which comes to tell us that when we refer to the 15 simanim that Chachamim put together for us when they put the Agadah together, we must have a personal touch and understanding to each siman. Okay, what are the 15 simanim of the Haggadah? We all know it. Kadesh, Urhatz, Karpas, Yahatz, Magid, Rochza, Motzi, Matzah, Maror, Korech, Shulchan, Orech, Tzafun, Barech, Halel, Nirtza. Right? 15. So each one must represent something specific to you. And when we say Kadesh, wow, what does Kadesh mean? Kadesh is Kiddush. Why Kiddush? Why wine? Yeah, the connection of the wine to the Seder. What does it represent? There has to be some life, some knowledge. Why 15? Chachamim tell us that it's aligned with the 15 ma'alot, the 15 steps that would separate Ezrat Nashim to Ezrat Yisrael in the Bet HaMikdash. There was 15 steps. That's where the Leviim used to go and play their music. We built 15, Shlomo HaMelech built 15 ma'alot, 15 steps to go from Ezrat Nashim to Ezrat Yisrael, which is an upgrade in the level of Kedusha inside the Bet HaMikdash. Because his father, David HaMelech, in Tehillim, wrote 15 Shir LaMa'alot. So, from the 15 Shir LaMa'alot, Shlomo HaMelech understood that to build to a ladder, to elevate yourself from one level to the other spiritually and in level of holiness, you need 15 steps. So the number 15 is a key factor in a growth and transition between one level of spirituality to the other. David HaMelech himself used those 15 Shir LaMa'alot at a critical time. The Gemara in Masechet Sukkah, Daf Nun Gimel, teaches us that there was Nisuch HaMayim. We know we do in the Bet HaMikdash Nisuch HaMayim. We pour the water, right? It's one of the avodah that we do during Sukkot. Why do we do it? Because David HaMelech found the veins that led directly to the heart of the earth. And what did he do? he said the Shir LaMa'alot, okay, and the waters came up. Every Shir LaMa'alot, the water would come up, elevate, 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 until it's flooded. It was starting to flood, to overflood the earth, and then well, there's a story there that he needed to stop the water, and he wrote Shema Meforaj, the Shema, can he do it? He cannot do it. We're not going to go into that story. It's a beautiful story. You can read it in Masechet Sukkah, Daf Nun Gimel, because that's a story for Sukkot. And if you refer to the shiurim we gave on Sukkot, I speak about that. The point is that Shir LaMa'alot was the koach David HaMelech used to rise water from the depth of the earth. So what do we see? That Shir LaMa'alot in the Tehillim has the power to trigger elevation of water in creation. Now, on a biological level, we know that man is made of at least 70% of water, right? So every time you will say Shir LaMa'alot, the Shir LaMa'alot on a segula level triggers an elevation of your level of hydrogen of H2O in your body. And we know that the more you are stimulated with water, or the more your water is proactive, Stanley, the more you are energetic, and your mind gets oxygen.
Where's your water, Rav?
Yeah, done already. I'm in the middle of the shiur. No. so
technically, you should be saying the 15 Shir LaMa'alot every day.
So it's a big segula. Just so you know, it's a big segula to read it every day. Yes. And what it does is that it stimulates your body and the water that is in your body to come up and become dominant in your essence. That's David HaMelech. And that's a parenthesis of the segula, which and this is what obviously you need to say it with Bikdusha Tara, not say it like you're reading the newspaper, because when David HaMelech said it, he said it with his kavanot, right? So we have to say it with kavanah. Tremendous segula for power, okay, for power, for physical power. Now, David HaMelech himself learned that the number 15 is extremely powerful because of the pasuk that says Beka Hashem Tzur Olamim, right? Hashem created the world with the name Yud K, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the spirituality of the creation, which is the Yud, the physicality of the world, that is the He, brought the Yud and the He together and created a world like we know it, that has the harmony between spirituality and physicality, the way we know it. Beka Hashem Tzur Olamim. Therefore, in order to create harmony and joint power between polar opposite, you need the Yud and the K. The Yud is 10, the He is 5, that's 15. This is how you merge spiritual and physical growth together and allow them to coexist, which is exactly what happened with the 15 Shir LaMa'alot. Through the koach of the Shir LaMa'alot, he was able to bring water that was needed, right, all the way up to the earth from the bottom of the earth, number one, but also Shlomo HaMelech did the same thing with the 15 steps, right? He was able to merge two levels of Kedusha and bring them together to coexist. This is the secret behind the 15 Shir LaMa'alot that come from the Beka Hashem Tzur Olamim, that is the sod of the creation of the world and its elevation spiritually. Therefore, Chachamim found adequate and proper to elevate an individual on Pesach and allow physicality the beauty, the jewels, the beautiful table, the food, etc. Okay, with the spiritual growth that we're trying to connect on the Leil HaSeder with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Leil Shimurim Hu Lashem. Right, a day where it's a Leil HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. It's a bond that is very intimate. Chachamim found good to structure the Leil HaSeder with 15 simanim. Now, because of that, the Olat Re'iyah and the Yesod Shoresh Ha'avodah both teach us, and this is a minhag that we have. I don't know if everybody has this minhag, but this is our minhag in the family from many generations, by a lot of families also, that we say the simanim. Kadesh, Urhat, we said the 15, and then we say Kadesh. Why? Because by saying the 15 simanim before every siman, you lay the ground to where you need to get to, right? You need to go from Kadesh all the way to Nirtzah, all the way to the perfect connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And at that point, we're on this first level, Kadesh, and then Urhat, right? So you say the 15 simanim, lay the path, the ground, and then you engage with the siman, with the level you're connecting to in your own seder. And this is how you tap in to the sod, to the secret, the segula, the beracha of each siman. So when you say Kadesh, you connect to the sod and the beracha of Kadesh. You consolidate that step. When you say Urhat, you consolidate the step. It's like as if you build your 15 steps in order to reveal a new Hazara for you this year. Another reason to the Seder is also to show us that in this world there is Hashgacha Pratit. Hashgacha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a process. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a Seder, right? And we need to remind ourselves that we in the world that we live in has a structure. It's not a free-for-all. It's not random. It's not nonsense. No, there's a Seder in life. And therefore, if you follow the Seder, you will get to the Nirtzah. You will get to the realization of your purpose in creation. But if you don't follow the Seder, if you think that it's a free-for-all, if you think it's a random world, and there's no beginning, there's no end, there's no purpose, then you're never not going to get there. So Chachamim comes to tell us, if you want to succeed in life, if you want to reach the level of Nirtzah, where your actions are accepted, embraced, and in full osmosis with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there is a process. There are rules and regulations that you need to follow. There are steps that you need to take. Another dimension to the reason why we have a Seder in the Haggadah. Good? So, before we zoom in Be'ezrat Hashem into each siman, we'll just give Kadesh, we make the Kiddush, right? So we make the Kiddush, the Beracha on the Kiddush is, there's a machloket Sephardim, Ashkenadim, do you make the Bracha on every course, or you make only one Bracha? Okay, we're going to get to that. That's Kadesh. Urhat, Netilat Yadayim, without Beracha, to stimulate the kids to ask questions. Okay, Karpas, we eat the maro, right? The karpas, the yerek, and that we dip in the salty water. Okay, yahatz, we cut the matzah, right? One big piece, one small piece. We keep the big piece and we hide the small piece, right? Sorry, we keep the small piece and we hide the big piece. Why do we keep the small piece? Because everybody has to feel like a ani, like he's poor. There's something missing, and feel for everybody else, and take the responsibility of Klal Yisrael on his own level. That's Yahat, Magid, the Haggadah, Rochza, Netilat Yadayim with Beracha, Motzi, Matzah, the two shiurim of Motzi and Matzah, right? then we eat maror, korer, the sandwich that we know, shulchan orech, the big seudat, safun, we eat the afikoman, barech birkat hamazon, halel, we said the halel, nirtza, we finish the Haggadah. When you complete your Seder, nirtza, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will for sure accept it. Nirtza, we don't do anything, Lemaise, right? What is nirtza? Is when you finished the Seder. So you normally, when you finish saying the Hallel, you finished. So what is nirtza? Nirtza is that if you can bring something to completion, you should know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu for sure will accept. אז זה נאמר, אין המצווה נקראת אלא על שם גומרה. The mitzvah is entitled or is named after the person that finishes it, that completes the mitzvah. You can start a beautiful mitzvah, you can start a beautiful project, you can do a lot of things. But in reality, you know who gets the name of the mitzvah, who has not the full credit, but the main credit of the mitzvah is the person that actually brings a project to completion. Make sure that the project gets finished. Ze nirtza. Another tremendous message that we're learning, that you don't get lost in the process. Okay, the seder is we have the big seder, but you have mini sedarim also, right? Every day, every project, every accomplishment in your life has his own seder, has his own 15 ma'alot, and it's up to you to make sure that when you decide, you start something, you try to finish it. You finish it, nirtza. HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts it. Very good. So this is regarding. And did I forget anything about? This is regarding the seder. Yeah. Now, just for the knowledge, just so you know. The 15 simanim that we have, okay, there was a lot of different rabbis a long time that had their own terminologies for the simanim, right? The Haggadah that we refer to, that everybody knows, that is referred to Rashi. This is the simanim Rashi summarized for us. It's not his simanim, but it's the simanim that he found Nachon to consolidate for Am Yisrael. That's okay. So that's regarding the simanim. Now, another ruach. So obviously, within the structure of the big Haggadah, we address that we have now the simanim, right? It's a structure within a structure. Very good. Okay. Within that structure, there is certain points in the Haggadah where we need to be mesev, where we need to lay down on the left side and eat or drink. Okay. The purpose of the Hasava, the reason why we lean when we eat or when we drink the kosot, for example, two reasons. Or because it's a proclamation of freedom, or to remember Am Yisrael, to remind ourselves that Am Yisrael, when they left Egypt, they left with full freedom. They didn't carry with them any contingency. When they left, they didn't leave at night. They left, finished, freedom. Now, the difference there is between the first one and the second one, the two te'amim, so two very important te'amim. One of them, the second one first, that we remind ourselves that Am Yisrael left from Egypt, okay, is to internalize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a level of freedom at the time of exile of Egypt, of the redemption of Egypt, in order for us to grow as a people, and it brings to each individual a sense of collective responsibility, right? Do you know why I'm free? I'm free because Hashem freed Am Yisrael, there was not one individual freed on his own. It was a collective freedom. So if it's a collective freedom, I'm benefiting from something that's collective. So I cannot feel free and leave every hand behind me. That's the message we're expressing when we lean down based on this reason. The second time, or based on the first time that we brought, that we need to proclaim that we are free, it's more of a personal recognition and assessment that I need to own and take responsibility of my freedom. And I don't just think about it, I actually show it. So when we lean down, according to the first time, it's a more of a personal, how can I say? It's a personal askama, a personal acceptance. I accept and proclaim and take the full responsibility of freedom with everything that comes with it. It's not a theoretical thing. It's real, and I'm showing it. But I'm not showing it to anyone but to myself. So it's an action that's coming to consolidate and reinforce my status in order to find the strength and the responsibility needed to engage with that freedom in the journey of my purpose in life. Now, these are the te'amim of the asaba of what we lean down. According to the Rambam and most of the Rishonim, we have to lean on the night of the Seder, and that's the halacha we follow. Although the Ra'avya holds that was just in the past. Today we don't need to do it because it's nobody that feels free actually, lean down. That was the minhag of that time. So today we don't really relate to it. We don't hold like the Ra'avya. The halacha is that we do lean. So why do Chachamim, and especially according to the Rambam, you should lean the whole Seudah if you can? Why do Chachamim make it such a big point to do a physical action that is supposed to trigger something within us? Because you cannot benefit from the beracha of the Seder, Leila Seder. You cannot benefit from the knowledge, from the enriching experience of Leila Seder if you cannot assume your freedom. To be free, it means to be responsible. It means that now you will be tested and you will be graded based on your action. When you are not free, when you are under someone's patronage, okay, so you can always say, what do you want from me? I'm forced to do something. If I was free, if I had the opportunity, this is what I would do. We're rejecting that thought process of if I had the chance. No. You have the chance. You have the opportunity. You have everything it takes to do what you're supposed to get to the nirtzah. The question is, will you or not? So the Leila Seder, if you want to benefit from the growth of the 15 simanim, if you want to benefit from the beracha that you will carry in your year, in your everyday life, to get to the nirtzah and all the mini nirtzahs that you want to accomplish during the year, it's extremely important that you are open emotionally, maturely, to accept the responsibility on a personal level and on a collective level of what is called freedom. The point of that are critical to make sure we lean on the Leil Seder is the kosot. We know the kosot. Achilat matzah, when you eat the matzah. Okay? So it's first, the first cause and achilat matzah. The arba kosot, we have to do. Okay? Korech and afikoman. Right? So the 4 cups, matzah, korech, afikoman. Okay. That's just technical, so that we address it. So what do we see here? We see that between the simanim and between the haseba, we have an underlying preparation that's coming to to push us to be ready for growth. It's a night where we crave the growth, where we structure our growth, where we envision the steps we want to take to elevate ourselves with practical steps that gets us to complete certain things, not just talk about it, not just start it, not just get involved with, but to actually complete. But to do so, you need to feel free. You need to feel in control. You need to be responsible. Are we good? This is the 2 points I wanted to address: the simanim and the haseva. Now we have, if we resume the 2 shiurim, so we have the structures to get to the connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that needs to translate into empowering ourselves with a vision of growth, all its beracha from that the Seder can offer us, and practical baby steps with practical end results on sub levels. Yes.
How could we practically get this to the kids to understand and feel connected to this? Because this is like in a matter that is difficult to transmit to kids, to small kids, but for me at least.
No, vadai. I think that the kids are much more influenced by visual than by words. So usually what we do, okay, and it's just personal, yeah, we make sure to have visual things, whether it's the Eser Makot, make it very visual, okay, and give them the time to not only understand how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu is involved, right? So you take the Makkah, everybody says what they know, they learn from school, wow it, and infuse how this can be learned today and how it impacts our lives. Okay, so I think last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember, we had a whole conversation about how critical water is. I think it was last year, because during the pandemic, and everybody was going crazy about water and toilet paper. So So he said, imagine, everybody's running after the water because chas v'chalila there could be a crisis, yeah. But that's exactly what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did, right? But and at that point he stopped the water chain, process. And you take something, and suddenly, believe me, suddenly, once you start drinking water, you appreciate the water. Not only them, but everybody starts appreciating the water. So if you can take something like that, and it doesn't have to be all the 10 makot, right? All the time, but at least a message that you bring home. Oh, okay. And how can I practically thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What can I do right now to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that? Make a better beracha on shakol yavid varo. Waste less water. People come, open the water, drink a third of the bottle, they throw the bottle, they forget the bottle. Or when you brush your teeth. There's many ways of being thankful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yeah, use the water properly when you do your netilat yadayim. So if the kids can leave the Seder with 1, 2, 3 practical, things where they can see the beracha and they can say, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You've accomplished your mission. Because at the end of the day, we want to engage them with questions that are completely irrelevant so that they can get interested and find also themselves the Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. Right? And everybody say Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu in their own way, in their own lashon, on their own level. Good?
Exactly.
Any other question? Adam, Stanley?
I'm good.
Okay. So if it's okay, we're gonna stop here. Next shiur, we're gonna actually dive into now all the simanim on a halachic level, high level, and zooming into the actual message of the siman. Obviously, we're going to start with Kadesh and the 4 cups of the Seder.
Spectacular. If you remember things that, as this example of water that is so simple and so important.
We're going to share. Be'ezrat Hashem. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Rav.
Thanks, Rav.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Love you all. Shabbat shalom.
Love you.